Here I am in Thailand, and there you are watching this video and thinking, let's live in Thailand. In last week's episode, I talked about money, how to spend it, where to spend it, and what to spend it on. One of your biggest expenses is going to be your place to live. This week is all about renting in Thailand. I'll tell you about Airbnb, service apartments, condominiums, apartments, and houses in Thailand. I'll show you how to find your perfect rental and then how to negotiate a great lease. By the end of this video, you'll be ready to rent your first place in Thailand. And don't forget, watch this video to the end to see what Nieow, the Thai genie in a jar, is up to today. Let's live in Thailand. Starting out, the easiest and fastest way to get a place to live in an urban or tourist area is to get an Airbnb. Although you'll see them, Airbnb rentals of less than 30 days are illegal in Thailand. If you are caught, you have no penalty, but you can end up suddenly out on the street. Also, some Airbnb owners don't file the TM30 for you as required by immigration. You remember the TM30 report from week 2's video and the penalties for not doing it, right? Basically, if you're going to stay someplace less than 30 days, choose a hotel or a guest house instead of an Airbnb. An easy alternative to Airbnb is a serviced apartment. You can find serviced apartments on sites like Booking.com, Agoda, or with a web search. Prices may be a bit higher than Airbnb, but serviced apartments comply with all legal requirements. You don't risk an immigration fine. Also, you have some flexibility to move around since you don't enter into a long-term lease. A serviced apartment is almost like staying in a hotel. Although you might stay in a short-term accommodation like an Airbnb or a service apartment when you arrive, eventually you're going to want to move up and rent your own place. In Thailand, you can choose from renting an apartment or a condo, a townhouse, or even a house. You can get them fully furnished, partially furnished, or completely unfurnished. There are advantages and disadvantages to each type of residence. Some are unique to Thailand. You locate Airbnb and service apartment rentals primarily by visiting websites. To find long-term rentals, you have a few more options. There are property listing websites. You can find these by searching online. There are also local property agents. Often these agents are quite plugged in to what's available locally and will spend plenty of time showing you around. Properties they show agree to pay the agents a commission. You should never be charged a fee for finding and renting a property. Be aware, property listings in Thailand are not exclusive. If you use multiple agents, you don't get access to more properties. If you decide to change agents, do it because you want better service, not more properties. Many landlords do not accept renters from agents. To find those kinds of rentals, travel around the neighborhood looking for rent signs and calling the posted number. This can be a great way to get a bargain rental. Fewer renters view the property, and the owner doesn't have to pay an agent. Apartments and rented condominiums are not the same thing. How are they different? The building in which an apartment is located is owned by a person or a company. There are not many official regulations that govern their operation. A condominium building is owned collectively by the owners of each residence as shareholders in a corporation. Thailand has clear laws regulating condominium developments, so the condo is required to have official rules and regulations for the building and its residents. In a condo, there is almost always building security. That's not always the case for an apartment building, which may even have separate outside entrances for each unit. Condo common areas are usually kept clean and tidy. The owners pay an annual fee for that building service. The condition of common areas of an apartment rely on the whim and habits of the building owner. Apartments and condos often have amenities like a gym and a pool, and generally they are more conveniently located to shopping and transport than private houses are, which are typically found in gated communities outside central areas. There are some special things to consider when choosing an apartment or condo in Thailand. Always check the parking. Also check if there are any restrictions on what you can and cannot do in the rental. Can you have a pet? Where can you smoke? Barbecue on the balcony? How is visitor access managed? Is there any extra storage? Privacy when living in an apartment or condo is not the same as when you live in a house. You'll have close neighbors. Everyone knows when you come and go. The walls might be thin enough to hear neighbors' exploits. And there are probably people who can see you from their window. And then there's noise. Thailand has very little in the way of zoning restrictions, laws regulating what kinds of businesses can operate where. No matter what kind of residence you're looking to rent, check out the noise by visiting at various times of the day and night. There can be noise from traffic and construction, from businesses like car repair, from school playgrounds, or from bars and restaurants. Apartments and condos are economical and efficient. But if you think you need more space, more privacy, or more independence, you can consider renting a townhouse or a house instead of an apartment or condo. A townhouse in Thailand is what they call a terrace house in the UK. It shares walls on each side with the neighboring house. In Thailand, townhouses are usually on a small plot of land. In front, there's an area with parking and a very small garden. In back, there's a very small patio. Sometimes, if the townhouse is located in a business area, the only parking may be on the street. Unlike townhouses, houses are completely detached and usually have a garden. Almost all houses in Thailand are fenced and have parking. Many are located in gated villages with entrance security and nightly security patrols. The common grounds are maintained collectively. Homeowners pay an annual association fee for that service, much like a condominium does. Location, location, location. Plan in advance how you'll get around once you choose your house. Townhouses located in an urban area will usually be convenient to public transport. For a house in a gated village, you might need a car or a motorcycle to get around, even just to get in and out of the village. So, what's right for you? A house or townhouse can offer you more privacy than an apartment or a condo, and a detached house more privacy than a townhouse. You'll have more space for hobbies, equipment, bicycles, whatever. There will be few restrictions on how you use your extra space. Most landlords in Thailand even allow home renters to keep pets. That's not usually the case with an apartment or a condo. Of course, parking can be a big advantage to having a house. If your townhouse doesn't have parking, find out how hard it is to park on the street. Numbeo lists Thailand as being the third safest country in Southeast Asia and having the third lowest crime rate after Singapore and Brunei. That said, if you plan to be away from your home for long periods, security at a townhouse is quite good, since it's easy to lock up and forget. Only the front is exposed. A house can be more problematic, especially if it's not located in a gated community with entry control. Of course, townhouses and houses have some disadvantages compared to apartments and condos. If you want to avoid a lot of maintenance, consider that with a house, you'll do minor repair and gardening yourself. How much depends on the agreement with the landlord. Utilities for a house will be more expensive because of its larger size. If your house has a pool, utilities and maintenance can be quite expensive. If you like those kinds of amenities, an apartment or condo may be more economical. Now you've found your dream place to live. You've thoroughly checked out the area day and night for noise or disturbances that you might find annoying. You've checked out parking and transportation. You have enough space for all your stuff. Now it's time to negotiate the lease. The process for entering into a lease is essentially the same for an apartment, condo, townhouse, or house. I'll point out any small differences along the way. A lease can be for any period over 30 days. However, Thai law makes leases over 3 years unenforceable unless they are registered with the local land office, which just isn't going to happen. You'll normally rent for a year, but you might get a rent discount for a longer period. Here are some key points to negotiate. The length of the contract, including the start and end dates, the monthly rent and the rent due date, the deposit amount and conditions for its refund. Since regulations were revised in 2019, landlords can require 2 months deposit plus the first month rent before you move in. By law, deposits must be refunded within 7 days of moving out. Also check the lease restrictions, which might include subletting, pets, and smoking. When renting a condo, don't forget you'll be subject to all the condominiums regulations. Negotiate who pays the association fee and other fees if you're getting a condo or a house in a gated community. Normally, it's the landlord. Who does maintenance? In a flat, it's common for the tenant to pay for minor repairs up to a certain price. The landlord doesn't want to be changing light bulbs or unclogging sinks. In a house, you might be responsible for maintenance of the garden, the furniture, and the premises other than the walls and the roof. How are the utilities charged? Landlords are prohibited from charging you more than the actual cost of electricity and water. If the water is privately supplied, include the unit price in the lease. Some rentals, not many, may include utilities. Find out if there is internet or telephone service already installed and agree who pays for it. Finally, make sure you and the landlord agree on who will do the TM30 address report on the day you move in. Often the landlord will make the first TM30 report, but it can be your responsibility to renew it every time you return to Thailand from overseas. After you negotiate, be sure the lease matches your agreement before signing. If all is good, provide a signed copy of your passport and evidence of being legally in Thailand. The landlord supplies a signed copy of her ID. These all get attached to the lease. In order to meet conditions for return of your deposit, insist on having an inventory of furniture and other included items, signed and agreed upon by both you and the landlord. The lease is made in duplicate originals, both with original signatures. You keep one original and the landlord keeps the other. Like anywhere else, rent prices vary by location. Here's a chart that can guide your expectations for how much you might pay for rent in a simple accommodation. It includes sample prices for a location in each of the 8 regions of Thailand that I cover in this week's companion video. Sure, you can spend plenty more than this. You can also spend less. These are just some examples of actual listings in 2024 for a 1-bedroom apartment and a 2-bedroom house. As you can see, it's most expensive to live on an island like Samui or Phuket, and most economical to live in Isan or the Deep South. Bangkok offers the most diversity in pricing since it offers the most diversity in housing types and locations. This week we figured out what kind of place you want to rent. We checked it out thoroughly and we negotiated a great lease. All you have to do now is move in. Of course, now that you know all about renting, maybe you want to consider buying a place to live. Next week's video covers buying a condominium or a house, and even acquiring land on which to build your Thailand dream home. Don't miss that video or any of the upcoming weekly videos. Like and subscribe below. Before we go, let's check in with Nieow, the Thai Genie. Nieow, sabay di mai krap? It sounds like he's snoring. He's asleep. He is asleep. Hey, Nieow, get up. We have a video to do. Not feeling well? Why? What did you do last night? Oh, you went out to a bar. I told you we were going to have a video today, and you went out to a bar anyway. Well, where did you go? Oh, the infectious bar? Ah, well, it sounds like you got what you paid for this time. Well, get showered and ready to go. We have another video to shoot today. Well, yes, you should go to the clinic. You sound terrible. Who knows what you might have gotten? Well, keep your germs away from me. My name is Yai, and I love living in Thailand. I hope you will too. Sawadee krap. Infectious? I hope he's not contagious.